Hello, welcome to another day of live streaming our development of our current game called Stream Machine. I'm Joshua Blair and I'm the CEO and founder of Icebreaker Games. Thank you guys for joining us. So I'm gonna just go ahead and dive right in. Yesterday we left off, we were working on the father character over here, and what we're really doing is we're setting up his AI scripting, some animations, and we're basically setting him up so that he can navigate around the bunker on his own and do different things. Anything from working on, machinery, to sleeping, to sitting, anything like that. And we ran into some trouble yesterday, so today we're definitely going to be troubleshooting and setting up maybe some more animations if we can find some. But just really getting this this concept with the father really just very natural, very good looking. Not going to be all the way perfected by any means, but it'll be a start. So if we take a look at where we ended yesterday, I go ahead and press play here and I go into the scene view. You can see the father. We have him set up right now where he can walk through the scene, and he's actually trying to walk all the way over to the dream machine, but you can see even now we have it where he doesn't make it all the way there. He actually stops. And so he's doing some kind of weird behaviors here. So we got to fine tune this, make this look good, and whatnot. And definitely thank you, Luchador, for the comment. I've had problems with that before in the past as well. But welcome to today's stream. Should be a good one, or hopefully we can get this father making sense and not just walking around aimlessly. If it looks like Skyrim, I'll accept it to some extent. Skyrim I think does a really good job. Yeah, I don't know. Luchabor, I get notifications when you go live, but I don't get notifications with Luchadork. I don't know why either. I don't know if it's a setting that you can set up or not. But yeah, so what I was talking about with Skyrim is the NPC interactions and their animations, and how sometimes it makes sense, but sometimes it's a little janky. We're setting up this father NPC, so to speak. And we want him to be pretty good. But if it's anywhere like Skyrim, I'll take it. I'll accept it. I think Skyrim's a pretty good standard for NPCs. And so, once again, I'll go ahead and play this, and we'll take a look. What he's supposed to be doing is he's supposed to be using the nav mesh here, and he originally even made it all the way to the dream machine. But I changed out these doors. Yesterday we had Andre on the stream, and he took these doors and added some collision to them. And so I just gotta fix these real quick. I did add them to the scene, but I didn't mark them navigation static here. And so that could be a problem with why he's not going all the way into the dream machine area. And then I'm gonna go ahead and bake this nav mesh again. You can see all the blue is nav mesh area. This is areas that the engine has determined that this NPC is able to walk on. And so you can see a good example is right here. We set it so that he could actually go to a decent height, like basically step up, and so he's stepping over this collider over here, which we don't necessarily need him to do that. So I'm going to try to lower that and see what that looks like as well. I definitely don't need him stepping over that stuff, but maybe some of this other stuff he can. I can't remember what we originally had it at. I think it was 0.5. But I don't know. It's still looking like Like, he can step onto stuff that I don't necessarily need him to. But let's play this and see what he's doing now. Yeah, see, he's still stepping up on that. But I think he's finally going back to the Dream Machine, so he's going through these doors officially. He's also appropriately going through this door. I don't know if you guys remember yesterday, if you guys were able to watch, but he was actually kind of flipping through this door. He was taking kind of a shortcut, and we definitely don't want him doing that. But you can see now he goes over there and he fixes that. He did just walk through this stool, so we'll have to adjust that. And I set it up where he just really quickly goes from station to station. But of course, once he's actually in, you know, the way that we want him to, he's going to probably spend at least probably a minute at each station. He's also floating a little bit, so we'll have to adjust that as well. And then here's where he actually steps onto the bed to go to sleep, which is funny. We'll have to see what we can do about that as well. We don't want that to happen. And yeah, and so that's basically what's going on. I think right now he's heading over to the chair, which was the last animation that we set up yesterday. So I'm kind of curious what this is going to look like. It's probably going to look a little janky. Because like I said yesterday, we don't have the transitions. There we go. We don't have the transitions of him sitting down, laying down, and all that good stuff. Yeah, to answer your question, Luchadoric, about game testers, it definitely... You know, I always say the sooner the better. We're definitely not at that point right now. But I technically could. And what game testers would really be doing at this point is they'd be fine-tuning or really testing out the limits of the scene. For example, we have a character controller that can move around the scene and do stuff. Yeah, it's not the ideal character controller yet. We're gonna get there eventually, but right now he just can run around or walk around the scene. And so a good game tester would be, yeah, exactly, like looking to see if the character himself, I'll give you an example, if the character himself can walk through any of this stuff, if he gets stuck anywhere. Obviously our jumping mechanic isn't working right now, so that's stuff that a good playtester would note. And then we would just basically set up either a Trello board or something like that that's going to track all of these issues. And then I would have to dedicate, you know, time to just going through that Trello board, finding all the issues that they found, and then just fixing those on a daily basis. And so right now, you know, there may not be too much for a playtester to do. I mean, that could probably be done in only a few hours. But eventually, when we get those dream levels up and going, and they're bigger levels, then that's really where, you know, you're gonna have hours and hours probably. And you're right. You know, game devs have to think about everything because players try everything. And I don't know if it's just boredom or if it's just a natural instinct to just kind of break a system. But that's what game testers do, is they test the limits of every single game. And when you have 3D like open world RPGs especially, there's just so much stuff that you can do in a scene that there's just so many things that you could possibly break. I mean, they're going to try to jump up on these shelves and go all the way and maybe try to clip through the top of the bunker. You know, who knows really, but they're going to try to do all that. So a good game tester would be doing that on a daily basis, trying to break the system, get out of the system, get out of the bunker, whatever they got to do. But yeah, I've had a couple people on TikTok that are already interested. So by all means, we'll set up probably something through Discord where people can register for playtesting. Exactly, create and find glitches. Yep, Exactly. So, so you can see the father was walking around much better now, just by fixing and rebaking the nav mesh with those new doors from Andre. You know, so that was a big part. But what we did is on the father character himself, we look at this. We added this capsule collider, and the reason why I did this was so that the player himself can't go through the father. I'll demonstrate here in a second. But you can see right now I can just. Oh, actually, it's not letting me now. That's good. Oh, the capsule collider's back turned on. But you can see I'm not able to walk through him. I'm not even able to push him out of the way. If that capsule collider wasn't there, you can't do this live. Otherwise, oh, you can. But you can see now I turned off the capsule collider, and now I can pretty much walk through him. But what I'm observing is with the capsule collider off, is he still floating? And I think he is. And that's what I want to fix right now. I was wondering if it was the capsule collider that is creating this, or if it's the nav mesh agent, the base height, is creating this issue. And you can see the base height here might just be a little bit low. We can adjust the offset here just ever so slightly, and that might help him kind of stick to the ground a little bit more. We don't want him floating, but then we also don't want him going into the flipping into the ground either. I'll go ahead and pause that. You can see it's kind of hard to tell. Let me slow this down. But that might be a good view right there. Still just a little bit too tall. Or a little bit too high. I wonder if go up to maybe 0.5. Not sure we can do this live either. Now I know it's taller than his shoes. Like, I think in reality we'd probably have it around 0.02 maybe. But I want to just see what this looks like and see if this is even making a difference. And now he's not even making it into the room again. Very finicky. Very lazy, I guess. It doesn't look like the nav mesh base offset is actually helping here, so I'm going to go ahead and change that back to 0. Might increase this obstacle avoidance a little bit. He's not taking those really sharp shortcuts that he was doing earlier. And I'm not sure if I want him to traverse off the mesh or not automatically. And I think as far as the nav mesh goes, I still don't like that he can step up onto this. and so I'm thinking about lowering this again. Might go down to 0.2 here. It's weird, it doesn't actually seem like it's adjusting. Yeah, it's weird. Maybe we can adjust the max slope here. Hashtag, where's Andre? Yeah, where's he at? Hit him up. Let's adjust this max slope. See if this changes anything. No. And oh, okay, here's the issue, and I apologize. I've been sitting here adjusting the bake height, but what we really need to be adjusting is this agent here. And so you can see the step height here was 0.75. We go ahead and change that. Let's change this back to 45. If we rebake this, let's take a look now and see what he does. Hard to tell. It looks like. Hey, Christy, thanks for joining us. It looks like he still kind of stepped up on that corner, but I'm not sure. So you can notice we have kind of this bright blue and then this dark blue. So it feels like we have two different baking like nav meshes here for two different agents almost. And you can see one made it so he has to go around the stool, and then one made it where he can just walk over the stool. Obviously, we don't want him walking over the stool. And we can also just increase the speed of him for now, just so we can kind of really look at this. Maybe a little bit more fast-paced here. You can see when I speed it up, some of his rotations don't look as natural. And here he still doesn't want to go. He didn't want to go all the way back into those positions. That's funny. He's very temperamental. Ugh. Okay. So if we look at the nav mesh, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It looks like, you know, we have a clear route for him to get to where he needs to go. I'm thinking we might be able to help define his path a little bit. You know, for example, we could say, instead of just going all the way to position 1 or position 2, so on and so forth, we can create like almost like waypoints, and we can say, okay, go to waypoint 1 before you go to position 1. Hopefully that makes sense, but that would be a way to kind of really fine-tune where exactly he's gonna go. And so I do want to take a look. Yesterday we looked at this Playmaker ecosystem. And if we type in nav mesh here, there's this pathfinding package, and I'm going to go ahead and get this and see what this comes with. So this looks like quite a few scripts that we're going to be able to bring into Playmaker now, and that should give us a little bit more flexibility with dealing with this AI, this character. And once again, that's how awesome Playmaker is. You know, you don't have to really recreate the wheel here. You can use a lot of their pre-built actions, or you can go to the ecosystem and download ones that they've already created for you. You don't have to sit here and script all day long. I mean, if I could do that, but you know, that doesn't make for good content, and it's really confusing for a lot of people who don't script. And we could spend weeks and weeks and weeks just writing scripts instead of actually working on the game. So that's definitely why I'm a huge fan of Playmaker. And I'll probably continue to use Playmaker, I mean, for the foreseeable future for sure. Alright, so if you look at this father AI script that we were working on, I know we didn't get a chance to clean it up. But if we go over to our actions now, if we just go ahead and delete this, if we scroll down, eventually we should be able to find a bunch of nav mesh concepts. So you can see there's a calculate path between 2 points and store the resulting path. Calculate a path between 2 game objects. Find the closest edge. I mean, there's a lot more going on here now that we have a lot more options. We also have some concepts for the actual nav mesh agent himself. And so we could look at that stuff as well. There's definitely a lot more options. I mean, we can set the speed and the height and everything scripting now. We can even set this path. I don't think I've ever used this one before, but that could be something that we look at here. We could also do some type of test. If we look back when he was supposed to be walking all the way over to the chair, but he wasn't. He would come over and maybe stop right here. What we can do maybe is set up some type of test where it says, hey, am I in the right position? And if I am, then I'll do my proper animation. If I'm not, then I need to recalculate my path. I need to reevaluate what I'm doing and try again. You know, that's stuff that's pretty standard when it comes to AI, especially with these types of fine-tuned placement of like animations. I mean, this is actually a very difficult maneuver here for AI to do, and it's doing it pretty well. For some reason, it doesn't want to go all the way to the bed and then turn around and try to calculate how to get all the way back to the chair. And that's our issue. That's what we're trying to troubleshoot. Now again, this animation here is janky just because we're going to need some type of transition between standing next to the bed and then getting into bed. But here we go. Here's the great example. So here he's trying to find a way. I'm gonna pause it. He's trying to find a way to get to the chair, and his position does not match the chair's position. You can see I'll highlight it here. But he still thinks, hey, you know what? I got close enough, and so I'm gonna go ahead and trigger this sit down animation, and that makes for some pretty janky results. We're not going to want that. So let's look at Playmaker here. I'm going to try to clean this up just a little bit so it's maybe easier to work with. Now, there's really no right or wrong way to do this. I will say, in general, the way I prefer to do it and the way I teach my team usually is, in general, if you have two different options, you can route another option off to the left or the right. But if there's only one option in general, I just keep scrolling further and further down. So you can almost just read it like a book, almost. And you can just keep kind of going down and down and down. There are certain scripts where that doesn't necessarily apply. But it really just depends. And so in general, the biggest rule to focus on is that it just needs to be readable. It can't be just a big old like spaghetti mess. Now on this one, you can see we're eventually trying to work our way back up to this spot here, and so that's why I kind of routed these off to the side. So based off of this very last int compare, we're activating or deactivating, and we're waiting, and then going all the way back, and then repeating the entire process based off of how many positions are available. But somewhere we need to do a position compare. I'm gonna add a new state here, and I'm just gonna call it position compare. And so the first thing we would do is we need to get the position of ourselves. And so we'll get position, and since this script is actually on this father AI game object and not on the actual father, we do need to specify, which changes this color to blue for me. And so we're getting our position. We're going to get this as a vector. And so I'm going to say current EOS. And then we're also going to we're going to compare this to the position of where we want to go, right? Which we already have that set position concept here. And that's supposed to be when he actually gets there. That's the fine tuning of that position. But he's supposed to move to that position first. And then he doesn't stop until he's supposedly there. So right in between this move to stop is where we're going to do this compare. And so next thing we'll do is, let's see, we'll do a vector 3 compare here. And I honestly don't know if I have ever used this vector 3 compare. This will be the first time, and I wonder, I hope it does a good job. We're going to compare our current position with this vector value, which is what we're using to go to. Otherwise, we could actually we could do this a different way too. We can say, we could do another get position, and we'll specify it. But then in here, we're going to call it this game object, the position game object. So we're going to get that one as well. And we'll store this as a destination position. Helps if you spell correctly. And so then we're going to, we need to store that. We're going to get it stored in this new vector variable, and then we're going to compare those two like we just had. And we don't want any tolerance really, because we want it to Actually, we probably do need some tolerance. And the reason for that is because the nav mesh agent could get hit within like a certain distance, get it within, you know, just a really few, like a few inches short, and that's to the nav mesh agent, that's good enough. And so we'll need some type of tolerance. For now, I'll just put 1, and then we're gonna need the equal and not equal events here. And so if it is equal, then we can go ahead and do this stop. Hey, you've made it to your correct position. But if it's not equal, then we need to do something else. And I'm going to move this transition down just because it makes a little bit more sense. The shorter distance for the arrow to travel. For now, I'm going to mark this one red, just so we know exactly where we are, and it's not going to be good if it's not equal. What I'm going to do is I'll dock Playmaker over here, and let's try to take a look at this. You can see right now we are in the move to state for Playmaker. He's moving all the way to the Dream Machine, and I apologize if this is slow. I kind of want to watch this live. All right, so he's going to get there. He's going to do this compare position, and he determined yes, it was equal. So he went ahead and stopped and did the proper animation. That was good. We're good so far. Now he's going to go ahead and go off to the sleeping. He worked really hard, so now he's tired. He's going to go take a nap. We don't necessarily have to do these things in these orders. The way we set up this script is actually pretty nice. We can adjust the order of these positions however we want, and it'll still do it in. Now you can notice here's a good example, because we're kind of teleporting that player into the bed. You can see he didn't get close enough to the position in order for it to say, hey, you're close enough, and do what it needed. So that means we need to increase this tolerance here. Let's try a tolerance of 5. We're going to try this again, but I'm going to try it a little bit faster now. Speed 3. I'm not even going to follow him to the Dream Machine. I'm going to go ahead and let him come back. And then bam. So you can see, I'll go ahead and pause it again. He did go ahead and magically teleport into the bed, so that tolerance was a good example. But I am worried if it's too high. So you can see here was the other example. He's trying to make it to the chair, and he didn't even get within that tolerance of 5. So maybe that tolerance is good. Now this is where we're going to try to set up like, hey, you didn't go where you needed to go. Let's reevaluate that path. All right. We're getting there, guys. Slowly but surely. All right, so now on this state here, we need to do something. Let's take a look at our nav mesh options again. And nothing's really standing out to me. I'm gonna really look into these. I think, we have a couple different options. But ultimately, we really need this free path. We do have auto repath automatically checked here. I'm gonna try to see what happens if we use this auto traverse, but I'll speed it up so we don't have to wait. Alright, we'll go a little bit more. It's so fast, he actually kind of glides into the next. Okay, so he does still, even with this. Huh. We didn't have everything checked, but I think that's... Yeah, it won't even let me do everything, because that's pretty much all of the masks anyways, these three. Anyway, so basically this auto traverse off mesh link didn't fix the situation, so I just wanted to double check that, make sure. So I will say one of the first things we'll do is we need to trigger the animation to stop. Oh, excuse me. We don't want him to sit there and keep walking forward like he's hitting a path. We can go ahead and say, hey, let's go back to your idle animation. So all we really need to do is just turn is walking to. So we're gonna say set animator bool. We are gonna specify again. And we're gonna say is walking false. That's the first thing we're. So basically, stop walking. But the next we need to do is calculate a new path somehow. So let's take a look at our nav mesh options. I'm gonna try this nav mesh calculate path. We might even calculate this path between game objects. And because I haven't used either one of these, you know, this is fairly new stuff to me. So, you know, we might set this up right. We may not. In general, these are usually pretty self-explanatory, and they even come with tooltips a lot of times, which is really nice. But here, our source position is our current position, and then our target, our destination. I think this one is exactly what we want to do, and then our result is I don't know if we need. I think we do need to save this path. Call it path. Weird that it's a game object. But then we're going to want to, now that we've calculated this new path, we're going to want to set the path That's weird. Saying, hey, if this is true, then it means it's successfully signed, but I'd rather you tell me if it's assigned. But if it has been assigned, then we'll go ahead and go to this next state. See what happens. Let's take a look at this. What I'll do is I'll speed it up till he gets to close to the bed, and then I'll slow it back down to 1. He's going so fast that he has a hard time going where he needs to. All right. We open up Playmaker again. Take a look at this. Now we have move to. We're doing this position compare. But bam, it didn't happen. We went to the idle animation here. Good. And then we calculated this new path. It says none. That's what's weird to me, is I don't know why this path is considered a game object. We might need to specify, like, hey, did you find the path? And if you didn't, do this. If you did, do this. Because right now that path is completely empty, so it appears like we didn't actually calculate a new path. And maybe that's part of the issue. He literally can't calculate a path. It's not necessarily that it's too far away, just that path, he can't find one for some reason. And so what we could do is, if he can't find a new path, that's when we can use these waypoints, and we can say, okay, if you can't find the path to the chair, then let's cheat and go to this location first, and then try to calculate a new path to the. Oh, I know that gets complicated, but I think that might be the only way we can do this. All right, so what we can do: resulting path found, basically true or false. Found path. And if you did, oh, I gotta sneeze again. If the resulting path is found, then we'll go finished. But if it's not found, we'll create a new event called not found, or no path. Good. Of course, we'll clean this up as we go. Let's take a look again. A lot of play testing, I know, but I think it's better to do a lot of play testing in the beginning than do a bunch of work and then try to play test at that point, and then now you got to keep track of everything messed up on. Trust me, when it comes to game dev, like, it's really hard to be 100% perfect every single time you do. Coming back here. Did the magical teleport. And now here's the area of concern. So he's walking over to here. We could even set it up where he can't get that close to the wall. But it looks like it did find a resulting path. It's just weird that it's considered a game object. Huh. Yep. Now I'm gonna take a look and say, well, now that he's got his new path, then we want to say, well, that's cool. There is a remaining distance um, one here. That would be good to know. Then we can always calculate how far away he is from that position. There's a lot of the a lot of these actions I feel like could work. I've just never used these before, so um, almost want to set this agent destination. We already have this set path. Curious what this set destination does. Weird. Now we're gonna say, hey, go ahead and move to that destination position. And again, let's take a look. Speed it up for now. Hey, Fupa's here. How's it going? Weird. So it made it all the way through, and it actually said, hey, try to move to this destination position. And it just completely... Thank you, thank you. We're having difficulties today. We're trying to get this this father figure walking around and acting like a true NPC here, but he's being lazy. He's being difficult. So we even told him, hey, move to this other position, and he's still not even doing it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna backtrack a little bit here. This doesn't necessarily seem to be working. Yeah, I'll take it easy. No alarms today, I think. I think your cat's safe. And if we do decide to leave the bunker, I'll give you a heads up. So I think at this point I'm giving up on this. Hey, find a new path and then take this new path. That doesn't really seem to be working here. I mean, you guys are more than welcome. If you guys see something I'm doing wrong, let me know. I think the best way at this point would be to now use those waypoints and say, okay, hey, you didn't go to the right spot, go to this other spot instead. The biggest issue with this is determining which waypoints to use, and that's why I was trying to do this without using waypoints. For example, if he gets lost going from the dream machine to the chair, and our waypoint is near the generator, he doesn't need to go all the way to the generator, turn around, and now try to go all the way back to the chair. We'll have to have some type of feature where we're going to check the distance between these waypoints. And whatever waypoint is closest, that's the one that we're going to go to. And then once we get to that waypoint, we're going to then try to recalculate and get him going back to the destination. So this gets a little complex, as you can tell. So I'm actually going to pretty much just delete. So creating a variable in, at least in Unity or scripting standpoints, is basically like these. Either a game object or a vector3 or boolean or integer. Those are the variable concept here. At least when you're using that terminology. What we're going to do is we're going to create a point or a game object, and we're going to have this new position associated with that game object, and we're going to say, hey, find the closest waypoint and then go to that waypoint if you can. And so I'm going to go ahead and create, we're probably going to create a new empty game object here. I'll call this waypoints, and this can store all of the nice. This is going to store all of our waypoints that should help in general. So now I'm going to create another empty here, and we can just call it waypoint. Call it waypoint 1. Now, we do need to drag it where we officially need it to be. I put one near this generator, and the reason why I'm doing the generator is because it's kind of directly lined up with the door. Get the player. We can get the father to this spot. We could probably set up another waypoint either in the hallway or in the other room across the way, and then that would help. So if you name this, this is kind of a handy feature here. If you name this in this convention, then when you go to duplicate it, it's going to automatically name it for you, and that kind of saves you some time, especially if you're going to do a bunch of these. And you don't want to have to rename all of them. So for now, I'm thinking, 3 different waypoints probably going to be enough here. Let's move this back. Kind of taking up the whole screen. We have 3 waypoints, and so what we're going to want to do in our script now, which is getting pretty vast already, we're going to want to save these waypoints in another array here. So let's create an array, call them waypoints here, and they're actually going to be just game objects. And in the init here, we're gonna also and actually we're probably gonna have to change this a little bit, because now in the init state here, we were actually cycling through all the children of this father AI, and so the waypoints would be considered part of the father AI. And we don't want that. We don't want it getting added to that array. And so essentially we're going to add this init2 here. We're going to do this very similar concept, but we're going to do it now on this waypoint. We're going to get the child and do all that stuff. And what we're really just going to do is we're going to do an array add here. So when it's loop, we're going to loop it here, and then we're going to say, hey, once you're finished, go back. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to store now these waypoints in an array, which if you don't know what an array is, it's almost, think of it like an Excel document, and you just have a bunch of cells. And it's storing information per cell of the Excel document. It's kind of the, the layman's terms, so to speak. But it's just a group of data. It could be anything you want. So right now we're saving a group of game objects. You can save a group of integer values, or you can do a group of floats or Boolean values. It could do anything you want. That's essentially what an array is. So down here where we have the calculate new path, like I said, we're going to go ahead and do this. And now that we've stopped walking, we're gonna basically have a state where we're gonna determine the closest waypoint. So let's take a look at that. And I saw that find distance. So we can say this one was get remaining distance. We don't necessarily need that. We just need to figure out we need to get the distances here of each waypoint. This would be the father, and then this would be considered the waypoint, and then we would store our position or our distance. This is where it gets even more complicated. Oh man, this is a good difficult day of streaming here. I apologize, but we're gonna have 3 different distances, or we could end up having 100. It really depends on our waypoints, how many different waypoints we need. The issue is we need it to find the closest one, and I don't want to have to sit there and compare distance 1 to distance 2, then distance 2 to distance 3, so on and so forth. And so that's going to get really, really difficult. I'm going to take a look again at our actions, and sometimes you could say right here, find closest. And so we're going to use the father here, and we're going to probably have to tag these. Let's just call them, we'll call them waypoints. Fine. So we'll say find the closest with the tag waypoints. We can ignore the owner. Could be Must be visible. I don't think that's too important. And then we're gonna store this as closest waypoint. We could technically store the distance if we want, and that would probably just be for troubleshooting purposes. And let's see if this works. I've actually used this quite a few times. It doesn't always work the way that it needs to, so I am prepared for it to not work here. And actually, just to speed this up a little bit, we can actually set this as the start state. So you can see he's just in this idle animation. We are on this state here, and then we have this closest waypoint is waypoint 1, and we have a distance of 7.36. It looks like it's working pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and go back to this. In this particular case, we actually don't need the second init. And so that'll be a nice way of doing it. I was kind of prepared for this not to work, so we may end up being able to delete these. I'm gonna go ahead and set these to red for now. That kind of means, hey, let's reevaluate this, and we may not need this at this point. So we found the closest waypoint, and then we are now going to want to now move to that waypoint. So we're going to just copy this state here. But instead of moving to this position, we want to move to the closest waypoint. And then once we get there, we're gonna want to do something else. But let's troubleshoot this and see if this works good. And again, we could set this as our start state just to avoid all of that other stuff. All right, you can see he's now moving to the closest waypoint. And then of course we'll want to say, hey, once you get there, go ahead and stop. That would be the first thing we would do is, hey, stop walking. And then now is when we would try to go to our next, we would try to go and do our original destination point. I think we can just go right back to this move script right here, which has us moving back to that POS. Let's take a look. So he's moving to the waypoint here, and then he's gonna stop, and then then he gets stuck. And then it disables. Let's add a wait in here so we can just copy one of these other ones. Come on. And just to make sure we're doing this 100% right, I'm going to go ahead and start this at the end stage again. And let's try to speed this up so we don't have to watch this much. We know he makes it over there generally fine. The issue is, can we get him to the chair here? Alright, so now this is when he goes over, he walks over the bench. But he walks over, says, hey, nope, that's not the right position. That's not the right direction. Let me go over to this waypoint. And then he's actually, he's doing it. Dang, nope. Spoke too soon. And now this is when he's saying, hey, I'm not in the right position. Man, what's going on here? And then his closest waypoint is waypoint 2. Which waypoint 2 is right there. So he should be, at this point, he should be moving towards waypoint 2. And we shouldn't be getting... Man, he wants to be difficult today. He shouldn't be getting to... He shouldn't be saying, hey, I made it. He's not close. We do have this offset from target here. And it's not... It's at 0. So he has to move all the way to waypoint. We still have a distance here of the 3.63. So he should be trying to find his way to waypoint 2. And he's not. He keeps saying, nope, can't get there, can't get there. I hope it has nothing to do with these doors. We've been having issues with these things. It's not that Andre did anything wrong with these doors. It's just he's just been having a hard time getting through them properly since we started doing it. Huh. This is interesting stuff here. If we look at this nav mesh, you can see there is a clear path available here. It's almost like we need even a little bit more waypoints than even just the 3. And we could try that. I mean, this is getting a little janky here. Definitely going to be the word of the day. Now, if we look at these, we're going to move waypoint 3 to here. I'll move 2 here. So let's move to Another issue we're gonna have now, if we do too many, sometimes the closest waypoint is gonna be behind him, and he's gonna backtrack, and so that's part of the issue, and that's part of why I didn't really want to do this. And that would be also a reason to do the next waypoint and do more of an array of waypoints rather than just finding the closest one and going there. All right, so let's look at this real quick. But I'm gonna try something here. Actually gonna remove these doors real quick. I'm gonna rebake it. I wanna see. I wanna see if that helps at all. Maybe if we can isolate the issue here, then then maybe we can have to adjust the doors themselves rather than have to keep adjusting our script. I know I could have sped him up, but I just wanted to observe him walking through this walkway. And it doesn't appear that it's doing anything different. I might actually delete this nav mesh altogether and do this from scratch again. Although, yeah, see, he's getting stuck here every time. I feel like it's something. This. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna delete this nav mesh. Let's see. actually appears that we have a bug, because we should be able to clear our nav mesh data. You can see we still have this, and I just googled it. I wanted to see what other people were saying, and I guess this is a problem that does happen. So somebody did create a script that does kind of force a remove all remove all nav mesh data. I do want to double check that we don't have that action already. Doesn't look like. Wanted to double check. I'm gonna go ahead and test this out and do this. So I'm gonna create a new script, and I'm just gonna call it force cleanup. I'm hoping we don't have to use this script very often, and if it works like they say it does work, then we might just delete it immediately afterwards. It doesn't appear that works. I think what we do, let's jump over to ChatGPT real quick. Let's take a look at this. I'm just gonna say create a Unity C# script that removes all nav mesh data. All right, and it says we can just attach the script to any game object in the scene, and then we can actually just call that method. I'm gonna go ahead and attach it to Father AI game object here. Interesting. Oh. Oh, the script is called nav mesh remover, not force cleanup. Nav mesh removal. Add this in here. And then now in our Playmaker script, I'll just create a new state. We'll set this to start, and then we're just going to call the method here. And this, and the method's called remove nav mesh agent. Push play here. And then if we stop, we take a look at our navigation, you can see even with gizmos turned on, we now no longer have that. So it's weird that we had to go through that much work just to remove our nav mesh. For whatever reason, that seems to be a known bug with Unity, and it looks like they're trying to fix it, but they haven't. And it also helps if I put you back on the main. All right. Now you can see there's no more blue on the area. So let's try this over again. Now, we take a look at the father. We can see his radius is we increased his radius just because we didn't want him making like really sharp turns. We also wanted to incorporate his arms a little bit, and probably even raise that base just a bit. I'll probably just do 0.0, something like that. Now if we look at our navigation, here's our humanoids. We do have our nav mesh agent set to humanoid. The radius is 0.038. Sorry, just 0.38, not 0.038. His height is 181. His step height, I think, is fine at the 0.5. Now we're gonna want to do the same here. So the height 181. Max slope 45 degrees is fine. I actually kind of want to lower this, although in general, like, I actually don't want him stepping up on anything. But we can leave it like that for now. The step height was 0.5. Let's go ahead and change this to 30 as well. We don't need any of this advanced stuff. There's our drop height and jump distance. That looks fine. So now if we bake this, it should now be our official nav mesh. Now you can tell it looks way better. Yeah, he can step up onto this case here. But he can't even make it now over into this area. Then we'll go back into the playmaker and we'll go ahead and set this as default state again. We no longer need this call method. And I'm not even sure. We'll see what happens here, but I want to say some of the big issues we were having, probably the reason why I wasn't able to figure it out, was that we were actually having that nav mesh bug. I'm hoping just everything magically works now. Let's take a look at this. You can see if we look at this live, I mean, he's detecting edges, he's detecting his path. If I pause this and if we really look in there, You can see this red line is the path that he created. We can tell right away what's he gonna do. Kind of cool. He only has like this little tiny sliver to get in here. So he couldn't even get quite as far as he normally got. And maybe we can adjust this bar stool here and debake it, maybe give him a little bit more space. But here he is heading back to the bed. You can see now this time he's going to stop on the right side of the bed, whereas before he was stopping on the left side. Not sure what he stepped over there. And then he goes ahead and sleeps. Now here we were going into that corner there, but now you can see his path looks way better. Man, I think it was just the bug. Nav mesh bugs messed us all up, guys. And we were doing all this work just to try to overcome the bug. All we had to do was just clear our nav mesh, start over again. You can see now he gets here. Now, of course, okay, so that's a good example, but notice how he didn't magically teleport into there. We're gonna need to fix that. But I just want to see some of the other stuff now. I mean, what do you guys think of this? It's pretty cool. We also didn't turn off the hammer. Notice how we turned it on once he was at a certain spot, but we forgot to say, hey, I now turn it off. And then again, this is gonna be not sure if we set those other positions up. And no, I'm not familiar with Daz 3D or Daz Studios Luchador. Actually, the hammer's off now, which is kind of cool. But we didn't finish setting up those animations because we kept getting stopped at the chair, so that's why he's not quite doing everything that he's supposed to be doing. And I want to say he's repeating now, so I think he's going back over to the Dream Machine. Oh man, night and day difference here. And I'm liking it. And just one bug just really messed us up here. So as of right now, like, we don't even need these waypoints. I will say, Playmaker, if you're ever watching, it would be nice to highlight a bunch of these and change the color instead of having to do it individually. So as of right now, I don't even think we're gonna need these. I'm gonna mark them red as well. I'm leaving them there just in case something else comes up. But I don't even think he ever is really gonna get to this stage no more. Now that our nav mesh is good, and we probably don't even need waypoints at all. So a couple things. One, we look at the script here. We did this int compare, and we said, hey, if you're at index 1, which was the bed, we needed to turn off the actual nav mesh agent and the collider, so that way he can magically teleport into the bed. We're gonna need to do that as well for 2 more indexes. That's the chair that's in the kitchen and the chair that's in the office. So we can't just do this int compare for the one. We have to do this now with multiple. So index 2 is the chair, and then so we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so computer typing was the other one. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, index 4, computer typing is the next one. So, but on this very one, since Playmaker works downwards in sequential order, it's going to do this to compare first. It's going to do this one next, so on and so forth. On this very last one, that's when we need the less and greater than. So if it's not 1, 2, or 4, now you can move on to the next step. And so then we would all this is good. And we were actually deactivating the hammer. It's just we're just doing it a little bit later, so he will walk a little bit with the hammer, which I think is fine. I don't see an issue with it yet. We'll fine-tune it though and see if that changes. But I will say we need to go back into the animator now, and we need to add. See how we had all these other animations that we could add. So now we need to go ahead and adjust those. The next one in the order here, we did finish the chair, but we didn't finish this work area. And so that's just the standing with briefcase. I know that gets a little confusing, and you could technically go in and just rename the state. So we could call this position. This is position 4, work area. And we still have the actual animation down here, which is fine. And so like this one, which was working on device, this is actually position 1, 3D machine. Now this one was the sitting in the chair. So we have this one just position 3, chair. You can leave this one as the walking, but we will change this one to 2. This is sleeping. Now this looks a little better, easier to follow, I think. But we're gonna need a transition to here, and we need the 2 different conditions again. We need 1 that's a cycle, and 2, the index has to be equal to the next one in line. So the work area position 4 is gonna be so you have 0, 1, 2, 3. It's always gonna be 1 less, so it's gonna be index 3. And then we need the transitions back to the walk, just like these other ones, where if he all of a sudden just starts walking, he needs to be able to get out of that kind of. So this one looks good. I'll go ahead and keep fixing these up. So the next one after the work area is position 5, which is the computer typing, which I think is these 2 here. So I'll go ahead and rename these. Position 5. And we can just call this typing. Then on these, it's just like all the other ones. We're gonna need the transition with the two different conditions. The index, since this is position 5, is going to be now 4. It's going to be equal to. We don't need the exit time. And then we need the two different transitions back to walk state. This is when it gets a little bit more difficult to see once you start getting all these different transitions going every which direction. You know, you can move this stuff all around and try to find a good position that's a little bit easier to read, but it gets difficult. There's other tricks of the trade too that you can do, especially when you're incorporating more than one animation per state. You can actually have what's called a substate, and so it cleans up the look of it just a little bit better. But since we're only doing just these two animations, at this point it's not that important to set up a sub. So I just want to double check these, that they're good. I think they are. Alright, so position 5 is now done. We have position 6, which is using this fax machine. These two here. So I will rename them. That's position 6. I'm just going to say DM typing. So he's actually typing on the dream machine itself. So I'm just going to add those two conditions again. This index is now equal to 5. And then we need the two different transitions back to walk state again. Another trick that we could consider doing at some point is we can say from here, from any state, and maybe we do this if it gets just a little bit too crazy, because I do plan on adding more animations eventually. But we basically can have this walk concept come from any state. And I think as of right now that makes it, because every single state is now leading into this walk, and that'll clean up a lot of these transitions. Alright, that looks good. So now we're down to the last one here. This is position 7. Gen fixed one. So you have the cycle, but then you also have index equals 6 here. And then we need to just back, walk slow. Sorry, that's true. There we go. I think that's all the animations. So now, if we test this out, fingers crossed, it should be good to go. And I'm gonna painfully go through this pretty slow here. I just wanna watch the pathing that he's creating. I still think we should do something with this bar stool. I actually wanted him sitting on the bar stool at some point. That's going to be one of the states that we do. I really like how he's determining these edges. And then also now we set it up where he should magically teleport into the chairs as well. I am curious why he keeps, I think it's this mesh here. Notice how there's just this little bit of a lip that he can walk over. And then I also want to watch the hammer. We want to see, what I don't want to happen is him sitting there doing another animation with the hammer in his. Alright, goes there and then bam, magically sits down. I like how he does actually go to the front of the chair. That actually makes things quite a bit easier. Now, once again, I set the wait times in between each state really fast, so that way we could do it for testing purposes. But we're gonna slow that down when he's doing this officially. Now you can see the hammer is active, and he's gonna go over and bang on his computer. No, I'm kidding, but he's gonna walk over to the other one and magically teleport and start typing. Notice the hammer did disappear. And then now he was here. Notice he actually even pushed us out of the way. It was perfect. And then now I think his very last position is the generator fix. And then he would just repeat the cycle over and over and over again. Go. So this is working really good, guys. And now he's going back to the dream machine. So this is much better than what we were just 10 minutes ago. Man, I'm still upset that we had that bug and it took so long to identify that. But now we know, you know. And maybe next time if I see that bug again, I'll know what to do. And we still have the script in case we need it. Thank you, ChatGPT, right? Okay, so with that being set up, I don't think we're gonna need these at all. I'm gonna leave these red. There are some more animations that I would love to add as well, some more animation states. He is now moving in between those just fine. But we are gonna, at some point we are also going to stop him and we're gonna be able to communicate with him. When he's in the state, when he's in the actual position, you know, position 1 through position 7, then it's fine. He can continue doing that animation when we want to talk to him. But at some point, when he's doing the walking animation, walking in between each position, we're going to need to be able to go up to him, talk to him, and he's going to have to stop. So we got to keep that in mind as well. And then once we're done talking to him, he's got to be able to continue what he was originally doing. If we take a look at this and we do, I'm hesitant to change this to any state right now, just because at some point we may change this, and it may no longer be true that it's from any state. And if I do that, then I'd have to recreate every single one of those transitions. So for now, I'm going to leave the animator the way that it is. We did have another animation here, and I don't think I dragged it in yet, but we did download it. And that was the sitting and drinking animation. If you drag in the father, you can see here's the you can see the animation here. He is just kind of sitting and drinking. There is a little bit of jump, and it's also kind of fast too. What we'd probably end up doing, take a look at the animator. We're gonna drag this in. We'll go ahead and set this to the default state here. And then we watch this now. Of course, he's gonna be moving while we do this. Let's turn that off for now. All right, let's take a look at this again. Right. So he's gonna sit there and drink. But then we didn't loop it, so then he kind of stops, right? And then what we would want is him to stop for a little bit and then do it again. And unfortunately there's no like wait here. There's no like wait 5 seconds and then do this. So I think the best way to do this, it's maybe not the best way, maybe the easiest or quickest way to do this would be to set this up where he does this really slow. This motion time, I kind of want to see what this. You can see it has this motion time. We can maybe set this up to 10. Curious what this actually does. So we go here, now we go down to this, and yeah, it's just doing it slow because of the speed. It's not doing anything because of the motion time. There's got to be a way to do it. I was hoping maybe it was just really simple, something that we can do. Obviously through script we can adjust this time on a counter, and we could change that. Let's just say we go down to even 0.5. I'm gonna get rid of this float here. And then what we do is then just cycle back to the drink. We just go back and forth. There. We take a look at this. You can see he drinks. It seems like he's going too fast still. Let's do it a little different here. Oh man, that's not gonna work. Actually, let's try this again. Let's do 0.1. Let's create some cycle offset here. Yeah. This isn't gonna work. Let's see if we can maybe incorporate this other sitting animation. See what this looks like. He goes, he drinks, and then he goes to sitting. He does, it's a little bit different of a stance. I think that's where the issue lies. I really don't want to have to set up a... I don't want to set up a script just specifically for this animation. So what I think we'll do is we'll go back to Mixamo here. And I'll take a look at that animation again. Take a look. You can see this sitting drinking animation here. Let's come on. Doesn't appear to be working. Reload this. There we go. You can see we had quite a bit of extra animations. We trimmed this down really good. But what I need is a trim that's just him sitting there, not actually drinking. There he's actually opening the whatever it was. And we don't need to, we need him to sit in the downward position. We're getting there here. That's too far. Come on. This is a little awkward. He doesn't. Let's take a look at this again. There's got to be a spot where he just sits down for just a brief second. Man, it's so small. Basically right here at the very end. Like right there. That frame 272. That's where we want to catch that right at 272 here. And unfortunately, the way that this works isn't by frame. This is more of like a percentage here. Oh man, he's shaking it, guys. He's shaking the drink. Okay. That is pretty funny. But that actually, believe it or not, that might actually work. But can't grab the. Damn it. I would say in mix mode, this would be great if we could actually pick the frames. Even just going down from 77 to 78, now we have a total of 6 frames. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'll change the settings. We're going to use FBX for Unity, and we don't need the skin. I'll go ahead and download that. Of course, we got to now log in, which means I may have to set up that trim again. Ugh. Today's been a day. Seems to be one issue after another. But that's the game dev world. I mean, there's been days, and not so much in this project, and not so much with the streaming process, but there's been days with other games where I've spent an entire 8-hour day, maybe even 10 hours, just beating my head against the wall, like not being able to figure out what is going on. Try this again. It's downloading. If we go back to Unity, now we have that other version. And I'm still not even sure if this is gonna work here. Because even with those short amount of frames, he's still moving his hands quite a bit. You can see what that looks like. Oh my god, this is terrible. Well, what I'm essentially hoping we can do is slow this down so much that that it almost will act like a resting idle. So you can still, like, he's essentially holding his drink a little bit and he's moving his arm, but nothing too major. And then once he's done, he'll go back to drinking. Let's take a look at this in game view. We'll go ahead and drink. Now he's kind of holding his up. His stance didn't really change too much, which is good. You can see his arms moving just a little bit, but since I slowed it down so much, not too noticeable, and then he goes ahead and drinks. I think that works. If you saw it full speed, it was a little appropriate, but I apologize for that. But I think now it'll be fine. So from the idle, we will set that here. Actually, let's go ahead and pick where he's going to do this animation at. We're gonna go ahead and just drag, kind of like what we did with the other guys, or the other animations. We're gonna go ahead and drag him over where he needs to go. Of course, now he's got that capsule collider. Nav mesh. It's a little bit harder to drag. So let's say we put him here. adjust rotation a little bit. The only problem I have with these empty studio assets, legs are so small that I gotta shrink down all the chairs all the time. Otherwise, he won't touch the ground and looks a little ridiculous. And actually, I'm probably going to move him a little bit closer to the table here. It looks like he could have reached out and grabbed his cup if he wanted. So I'm thinking somewhere right about here. I'll go ahead and copy this component. Now we're going to create a position. Position 8 and drinking. And we'll paste that value here. We go ahead and press play again. I'm gonna go ahead and move the father here. Of course, we have to move just the. So, and now this time I'm going to focus on the chair itself, which of course is static. So that means we can't move it. And try that again. So we're gonna probably want something like this, and then let's just scale it down enough where it still looks here. Gonna clip in a little bit, but I think that's still just a little bit too much. That's not too bad. .82 across the board. I'm gonna copy this transform now. I'm gonna set this to the prefab. Now they're all .82s, like that. And we can mark it static again. All right, so I think that's good. Now with this one, we're gonna want to add this to the int compare. And on this one, we're gonna say this is now position X7. And we can remove these other transitions here. So on position 7 now, he's gonna magically teleport into the chair. And I think have to set this last part up, and that's it. We'll need a cycle and index equal to 7. So then he will start drinking. Oh. And then we just need the transition back to walk. Mini state. All right. We can't have that be player now. Put that up there for now. I think this is gonna work. Take a look. And what I'll do is I'll speed it up. We don't want it to go too fast. I think we go 3 on the father speed here. Oh, I forgot we turned off his AI. If we do speed 3, I think he'll still be able to navigate where he needs to go without kind of like, you know, whipping around the corners. And we do need to add the doors back. Now that we've determined that it was a glitch in the nav mesh, we need to add those back and rebake, and hopefully we don't get the glitch back again. Fortunately, we do got to make it all the way through all of the animations still. Alright, so this one is now the official. I'm gonna go sit down on the chair. We did forget one crucial part here, and that was on this drinking back to thing. We need to get rid of the exit time. That's why he was floating that animation across. And then what we also need to do, I'll go ahead and set this as the default layer, default state. I'll go ahead and turn off the AI again. And so you can see he's drinking, so we got to give him actually something to drink, something that spawns in. So I'm not sure what to type in here. You know, it could be anything from, you know, a water bottle to a can, maybe something like that. Let's try this drink can here. So it needs to be added to the right hand, just like we did with the weapon. And now I'll go ahead and press play here. And so then if we go back to the view, this is where we can fine tune the placement of the water bottle, make sure it's like appropriate. I'm gonna wait till like right here. Let's adjust this rotation. And of course the position too. Thing's actually fairly big. We might have an issue where we actually have to animate the can itself. Depends on. So what's difficult in animations like this is just the accuracy. Sometimes you have to sacrifice one or the other. Like, is it officially touching his mouth versus is it officially in the right position? If we say hypothetically that is good, probably can't adjust it to mouth of the can is still down. We say that's good. And you know, like I said, it's not entirely accurate. It's not touching his lips. Maybe he's drinking it from afar. I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and copy this component here. Maybe the water bottle might actually reach his mouth. I don't want it to go into his face either, so I'm worried about that. But if we go ahead and paste that in there, and then we make the water bottle child of that drink, should get very similar positioning. It's similar, but not perfect. We'll take a look. Try to pause it when he gets back up to the very top there. On this one, we could probably get a lot closer because it has that bigger lip. It looks like he's still appropriately holding it. I think we'll go with the drink bottle, not the drink itself, not the can. Yeah, I like that. Let me know what you guys think, but I like that. I think that's gonna be better. We'll go ahead and copy this component. And we'll paste it in, and then let's that drink can. We don't need that no more. And we're gonna want to toggle this off for now, because we're gonna want to turn it on only in that state, just like the hammer. We'll go ahead and turn the AI script back on, but we're gonna need to adjust it here. So down here in this other int compare, this is the one where we're activating or deactivating objects. We're gonna need to change this a little bit, because we're gonna say, you know, in index 7. We need to go to this 7. On this one, we're gonna go to 3. The 3 equals this side. Then we'll do 7 equal to this side. And what we can do too is the greater or less than, we can still have that route over here. So we'll deactivate both the bottle and the camera at the same time. So we don't need this deactivate stage. And then of course we are still going to go up. Wait. No longer need the full transition. Maybe I move this transition up so it makes a little bit more sense. Yep. So I will say we no longer need these, because we're going to do it in this int compare down here. So we're checking to see, is it index 3? If it is, do this stuff. If not, then let's check index 7. And that's equal, go ahead and do this other stuff. Deactivate everything. So that should work. Of course, we do need to change this to bottle itself and not the hammer. So only 3 is going to activate the hammer, but 7 is going to activate. Not too much adjustments there, but it should still work. We play test this and try to speed it up again. See if we can go 8 until we get to the generator here. He's whipping around, so he gets stuck. So I don't even know if it might just be a little too fast. See, it might even slow things down a little bit. Like he's not quite getting into the positions he needs to as accurate as he possibly could. Alright, so here he's working on the generator. And then now head over to the drink area here. Bam. Now he's got drink and he drinks some. And he's gonna carry the drink for a little while until he really gets to his next position. If we decide that's not the way to do it, we can just move that deactivate somewhere else. See, he got rid of the drink, but now he's working on it. I think that's fine for now. Let me know what you guys think. I don't think it's too big of an issue. But I will say we probably need to readjust this tool here. I almost want to move it over here, even. Something like that. I don't think we're gonna have him come over here for. We may set it up where he types on this machine eventually, but I think having the stool here, I think is fine. We rebake this. Are we doing it? Looks like it's creating that bug again. Oh, come on. It doesn't like to clear out the nav mesh. Almost need to keep this on here. Just in case we need to do it again and again. Now if we look back at our nav, gone, so then we'll go ahead and rebake it again. There we go. So we can see we have got a little bit more room for him to maneuver. He's still not getting all the way into that corner. And I think, man, we may want that. Debating how important it is at this point to get him all the way up into there. Let's take a look and really decide if that animation makes sense with him doing it so far away. I'm still good with having the bar stool moved out of the way. And then of course we're gonna need to add the doors back. That'll be the next step. But I'm okay with the bar stool being moved over here. Now, wasn't quite where we needed it to go. You know, what we can do here is we can do just like what we did with this and compare here to. We can now say, even at index 0, I need you to go off and deactivate that. So now he can get really close as well. So that's just an easy fix. And actually I'll fix the doors real fast and play test again. I'll turn on the doors. These ones, this works. These ones don't have any animations associated with them yet, so you can't open and close those. As of right now, I'm actually debating that that's the way that they're going to stay. That way it doesn't really mess with the NavMesh and Father AI, because he's moving around from room to room to room. And I don't really know if I want to set up the logic for him to have to open these doors every single time that the player closes the doors. So I'm debating this. They're stuck in the. I will say now that they're turned on, we now need to rebake this, which means we're probably going to get that bug again. Yeah. Pretty sure we have it here. So I'll just go ahead real quick. And just to verify, these are marked static. Oh, excuse me. Right. Let's rebake that. And then, yeah, see, I think that's the issue here that we were having is even though it looked like the nav mesh was connecting, it was an older nav mesh that wasn't getting deleted to the bug. When we delete all of our nav mesh data and then we rebake it, you can see he's not able to get through these doors for whatever reason. And I think it's just because of his radius. And so if we clear this data now and we instead go with a smaller radius for the nav mesh agent. So let's look at something a little bit more like 0.26. We bake that now. I think actually we're getting through there just fine. The ultimate question is Yeah. See, there's just this little bit of a lip on the actual door itself, but there is now a clear path. All right, and let's take a look at that. So I like how he's going through the door here just fine. He's not clipping on anything. You can see we now set it up where he's gonna. Actually, he didn't even need to get there because now that we've shrunk his radius down a little bit, he's actually he's able to squeeze in there. But I think that's actually really good. If we look at this in the game view here, you can see we now have father figure that's going around and doing random stuff. He is floating a little bit still. Not too terrible. But I think we are way better off than what we were earlier today. I know it was a little clunky. We definitely had some issues today. Definitely had that glitch, but now that we've identified that, we were able to get through here no problems. We've added some more animations. I'm thinking we're good now. I think with the father. Of course, we are gonna eventually set it up where we can interact or talk with him. We could actually do that tomorrow if we like. Or we could continue on with something else. We're getting a little burnt out from working on this AI. Of course, we'll come back to him, but I think this is looking pretty good. I'm thinking actually tomorrow might actually be a good day to start setting up the shooting character controller. Sorry. The character controller where the kid goes into the apocalyptic city and he's actually able to fire a weapon now. I think that would be actually a lot of fun to do. I think that would be worth watching. I'm getting a little burnt out with the father because of that bug we experienced today. And I think he's at a good position right now to leave him there. And so I think that would be great to work on something a little bit different. Get to the point where we can start shooting at stuff, maybe even blowing stuff up. And maybe, I don't know, I don't know if we'll have enough time tomorrow, but maybe even at some point get some zombies moving around and get those guys able to be shot and killed. I think that'd be really fun. Even though the apocalyptic city is not till technically after level 10, I do think it'd be fun to set that up. But eventually we are going to have to just start working on level 1 of the Dream Machine and getting that all fine-tuned there. Of course, I will slow down these animations now that we have it at least at a decent state here. But yeah, I think that's where we're at. I really appreciate you guys showing up today. I appreciate all the feedback and the comments. And I'll see you guys next time.